to episode 10 of the Terrinique Show. I'm so happy that you guys made it to episode 10. I'm happy that we're on episode 10. This is definitely a milestone, and so far it's been very exciting, and I'm just so happy to share my hair knowledge to help anyone that is struggling on their hair journey or who just wants to know how to take care of their hair better. So happy episode 10, and thank you for tuning into the show. Today we're gonna talk about 5 things you may be doing that is causing traction alopecia. So what traction alopecia is continuous pulling force on the hair roots. So that's stressing the hair roots continuously or frequently. And what happens when you stress the hair roots is the strands start to pull from the root of your scalp. So when your hair pulls from the root, then it causes stress on the follicles, and you lose the hair that should be growing in that follicle. And continuous pulling causes you to go bald in that area, which is called traction alopecia. Now, the good news about traction alopecia is that it is preventable and it is reversible if caught early. How do we prevent traction alopecia? We will go into that in detail. But first, let's cover some things that you may be doing and you're not aware of that is causing your traction alopecia. First of all, using chemical relaxers or using heat tools like blow drying your hair frequently. Chemical relaxers, if you are doing an at-home treatment and you are not following the proper instructions on using those chemicals, then that can cause you hair loss. It can cause the hair to be weakened, and it can cause the hair to be pulled out easily because you were supposed to leave it on for, say, 10 minutes, but you left it on for 15 or 20 minutes, and you're not following the instructions of whichever chemical you're using. Because when we use chemicals on the hair, what it essentially does is it changes the hair structure. Anything that is changed in terms of its structure is weakened. So the hair strand is actually weakened, and because it is weakened, it is more susceptible to falling out, shedding, breakage. So using chemicals and not following the correct directions, or frequently blow drying your hair. When you're frequently blow drying your hair, you're using a blow dryer and maybe a brush that you have to, and if you have curly hair, you have to stretch the hair and then blow it out. When you're stretching the hair, you're pulling on the hair strands, and that is exactly the definition of traction alopecia, continuous pulling of the hair root. So if you have ever blow dried your hair, you'll see that there's hair in the brush when you're done. Some of that hair can be dead hair that's just shed, but some of that hair can be hair that you pulled out in that process. How to tell if the hair was pulled out and it wasn't dead is you'll see like a little white bulb on the end of the hair, and that means that it was pulled directly from the root. And doing that over and over again causes you to lose hair in that area, and that's called traction alopecia. Secondly, using glue to glue your weave or your extensions or tracks in. Personally, I don't think glue should ever be used on hair. I just don't think that it's a good idea. I don't care that they have removers that easily take the glue out. Glue in hair, if you are trying to maintain a healthy head of hair and you are trying to maintain your hairline, or if you're just trying to maintain hair in general, stay away from glue. Glue is not a good combination. When I think about glue, I think about crazy glue or Gorilla Glue. Or everyone kind of heard about the story about the lady that used the glue on her hair, and you know, she had a lot of issues because, you know, I don't want to call any names, or I don't want to shed light on it, because I know that time in her life probably was a lot of pain and suffering. So I would stay away from glue. What happens when you use the glue is meant to bond, to hold down. You don't want to be bonding or holding anything down on your natural hair strands, whether you be relaxed, whether you are of a, you know, Caucasian, Asian, Black. You don't want anything to be bonded to your natural hair strand, because that causes stress and tension and pulling and traction alopecia. What the glue does is it forms a layer around the hair that is sticky, right? That is adhesive. And all of that stress should not be on a tiny hair strand, because it's too much weight, it's too much pressure to be on something that is delicate. So glue, even if you're using a glue remover, and they probably work great, and I know there have been some advances in the area of glue removal, it's still a chemical, right? So you don't want to, if you can stay away from glue, just stay away from glue. If you want to wear weave, I would encourage you to get your hair braided and then get the weave like sewn in. I don't know the technology that has advanced with weave, because I don't wear weave. So I don't know if there are better ways of wearing extensions, or maybe clip-ons. That's a good way to wear an extension, because that's less stress. But even with that, it's some stress, because the weight of the actual clip-on is pulling from the root onto the hair. So that's also continuous pulling. So if you are experiencing thin areas or balding areas, stay away from any type of weights or pulling or adhesive or gluing to the hair, because that will cause traction alopecia. If you frequently wear these styles, it's just unavoidable. Thirdly, wearing your hair in a ponytail frequently, or not switching up the styles that you're wearing. The easiest way for the hair to be continuously pulled, and especially in the same direction, is when you wear a ponytail. Like I'm wearing a ponytail right now. What I do is I love to wear a ponytail. I love how it looks. I think it looks very elegant and very chic. But I also realize that I cannot wear this ponytail every single day. So what I would do is I switch it up. Some days I'll wear a twist out. Some days I'll wear a pin-up style. Some days I will wear a style that does not stress my edges, but that I can wear like a pinned up updo. So switch it up frequently. You don't want to be slicking your hair back every single day. I know that life can get busy and we can't always switch it up. But you know, some weeks, yeah, you can wear a ponytail every day because you're busy and you just don't have time to wash, you don't have time to do your hair. But do not wear your ponytail for the entire month. That's too much stress on the strands. Also, what I've found when wearing a ponytail, the hair ties that work best are the hair ties that are made from the stocking material. And when I say stockings, you know, the pantyhose that women wear, they have a hair tie that Goody sells, and I believe I got it at Target. I believe I got it from Target. I think I looked for it at Walmart, but they didn't have it. So anyway, Goody sells these hair ties that are made from stocking, pantyhose type material. And I find that when I wear that hair tie, it does not pull out my hair. So there's no hair in the hair tie when I take it off. So what I've been doing is I've been also using the same hair tie on my daughter's hair. She has a different texture than I have, and I find that there's no hair left over in the stocking hair tie. So what that's telling me is this is causing less stress on the hair. When we use, my daughter and I, when we use a hair tie that is made of, it's like a thicker material, it's stretchy, but it's almost like elastic band feeling. When we've used those in the past, and I really should have one here to have an example, I probably have one in my purse, I don't know. When we've used those in the past, I noticed that the hair gets stuck in the hair tie. So whenever you see, you take out your hair tie and there's hair around that hair tie, that means that that is pulling out your hair. So that is another way traction alopecia can form from using those type of material hair ties. So you want to look for hair ties that are made from a pantyhose type material, because hair doesn't get caught up in those as often. So the hair that's caught up in the hair tie is hair that was pulled out, or it could be dead hair, but we don't even want to take any chances when it comes to our hair and it being like broken or pulled from the root, because that causes traction alopecia. Fourthly, brushing your hair or brushing your edges when they are dry. This is one of the worst things you can do to your hairline, is to brush it when it's dry. Always keep a spray bottle of water so that when you want to brush your hair into a ponytail or into any style, first of all, you spray it with water. Water is moisture for the hair. And what moisture does with the hair is it helps it to be more elastic and meaning more flexible. And when it's flexible, it will not break easily because it is moisturized or hydrated. So you want to use a spray bottle of water, and then I would even go a step further to put a little bit of oil on your edges and then brush it. Most brushes have hard bristles on them. So if you use a hard bristle brush on your edges or on your hair, it is essentially raking the hair shaft. When it rakes the hair shaft, that causes damage, it causes breakage and potentially split ends, and it can pull your hair out. Look at your brush that you've been using for, I don't know, a week. I don't know how often you clean your brushes, but look at your brush. There is probably most likely a lot of hair in that brush. All of that hair is not shed hair. Some of it is shed hair, but all is not. So what you want to do is ensure that you are only brushing your hair when it's damp or conditioned or oiled. Those three are a good combination before brushing your hair, because you know that you're protecting your hair as much as possible during the brushing process. And to avoid traction alopecia, these are the best steps to follow when using a harder, bristle brush. You can also try to use your fingertips sometimes to smooth your hair down. That will also help. Or just avoid tension styles in general that require using a hard bristle brush. Like I have my hair right now in a ponytail, I did have to use a harder bristle brush, but what I do is I spray my hair lightly with water, then I use the Kurlee Belle detangling brush, which is made of more plastic. And what that does is that smooths the hair down. So because my hair is thicker, it will easily detangle and smooth the hair down, and then I put it in a ponytail. To get the hair to look smooth as it does, I then would put the Miracle Scalp and Edge treatment gel that's made from biotin on my edges, and then lightly smooth it down with the Edge Control brush, which has softer bristles, and then I'll tie a scarf down on my hair. So try to avoid hard bristle brushes on your edges, but if you absolutely have to, use water, a leave-in conditioner, and an oil before even applying the brush to your hair. Number 5, leaving your box braids in too long will cause traction alopecia. How do you know that you left your box braids in too long? If there is like about 2 or 3 inches between your hair, the scalp, your roots, and where the box braid was supposed to be onto the scalp, then you know that it's time to take it out. Whenever the hair between the box braid where it started and your root can twist, you're in problems. You know that it's time to take it out, because the twisting of the box braid or any kind of braid, what that does is it, if you've twisted your hair before, you know that that's pulling, it's pulling on the root. And twisting causes it to get tangled, and you don't want any tangled situation on, the edges, the hairline of your head, because that is gonna cause pulling. So, and the box braid has weight to it. So you wanna avoid wearing something too long, wearing a braid too long that has weight to it that will cause your hair to pull out. And I'm sure you've seen it, I've even seen it when I've had box braids, that you start to see like the little white bulbs. So what do you think those white bulbs are? That's your hair pulling out from the root. And if you do not treat it, when you first see it, if you let it linger too long, then the traction alopecia becomes irreversible. But if it's caught in time and you treat it, then the hair will start to grow back. And we'll talk about ways to treat traction alopecia in another episode. But for example, castor oil is a great oil to put on your hair to help treat traction alopecia. We actually have an oil. It's called our Bahamas Glow Hair and Strengthening Oil. It's made from castor oil, jojoba oil, mango oil, all of these oils that help create a healthy scalp situation, so that if you have experienced traction alopecia and you put this oil on twice a day, it will help regrow the hair that was pulled out. Also, it is a great oil to use whenever you're wearing braids, to continuously oil your edges so that it prevents any kind of pulling or breakage. It's a barrier, right, to make the hair more elastic and it protects the hair from pulling and breakage. So there are things you can do while you have in a more tension style, and there are things you can do after you have taken out your style to help your scalp stay healthy and to limit traction alopecia. So let's go in. We talked about 5 things that can cause traction alopecia. Let's go into how to avoid it. So avoid tight styles, avoid anything that is heavy on the hair, that is pulling and stressing the hair. Avoid heat styles. If you want to get your hair straightened, yes, do that, but don't do it all the time. You want to avoid frequently using heat styles. Avoid locks. I wouldn't say avoid locks, but with locks you have to be very careful. If your locks are getting long and heavy, then you need to wear styles that will support the weight of the locks. So maybe putting your locks up on your head in a top knot, so that when the weight of the lock doesn't pull the hair. If your locks are very long, and you've seen this before, people who have like very long locks and they're heavy, that sometimes their edges are pulled out because the locks are too heavy. So you want to maintain a length of lock that isn't so stressful on the roots. And if your locks are longer, you can put them up on your head in a nice, top knot, or you can put it in a nice ponytail that does not stress your edges. So try to avoid heavy styles. Properly use heat tools or don't use them at all. That's my suggestion, but hey, I'm kind of simple when it comes to my hair. I want to retain my hair. One of the reasons why I went natural is because I saw my mom wear tension styles like weaves and it took out her edges, and I'm like, I want my edges. I want to have my edges. So I'm like, going natural is the thing to do, because from her using a relaxer and wearing weaves, it pulled out her edges, and I felt as though stop using chemicals, I would keep my edges. If I didn't wear weaves, I would keep my edges. So I just erred on the side of caution when it came to my hair. If something is too tight, I am not comfortable. I'm sorry. If I get braids and the girl is pulling on my scalp, I'm the annoying customer. I'm like, no, it's too tight. I would prefer for my braids to be loose than for me to take out my hair and not have my edges. If I go to a braider and she tells me, girl, I braid tight, girl, you're not doing my hair. Because listen, I protect my edges. They say protect your edges like you protect your life, and that's exactly what I do. So if you know a braider is known for braiding tight, stay away from her. A word to the wise is sufficient. If you see the little kids in the chair and they're doing like this and don't let her touch you. And don't let her touch your kid's hair. You don't want to go to anybody that's braiding too tight. So avoid stylists that braid tightly. Avoid overstyling your hair too often or too tightly. We've already went over that. Avoid wearing the same style all the time. Switch it up. Switching it up helps to relieve the stress on your hair, on your hairline. Wigs are a good option too. Wear a wig. That's no stress. No stress on the hair. You put a wig on. Again, I don't really know the process of how people wear wigs. I personally have never worn a wig. Just, I guess, my preference. I don't have anything against wigs, but I think that they're good ways to prevent, stress on the hair. Because you could get your hair like lightly braided into cornrows and just put the wig on and you're good to go. I don't think it looks good on me, and that's basically why I have not worn wigs. But I'm more of a natural person anyway. I don't wear a lot of makeup. The most I do, I wear acrylic nails every now and then. I just wear my natural nails and I get them painted. So I guess it just depends on your preference. There's nothing wrong with, wearing wigs or wearing acrylic nails or wearing a lot of makeup. There's absolutely nothing wrong. I'm just saying, I'm just more of a simple girl when it comes to that. And then lastly, avoid improper time between styles. So you don't want to keep styles in long. You don't want to keep braids in too long. You don't want to keep wearing your ponytail for a long period of time. Just switch it up, give your hair a break, let your hair breathe. Research styles that you can probably wear for like a week or two. That is less stress. For example, getting your natural hair braided down by a braider who does not braid tight is an option. I hope that this was helpful to you in how to avoid traction alopecia. Please, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, follow, comment. We are now on TikTok at the Terrinique Show, on YouTube at the Terrinique Show. Please subscribe to our channel. We are also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts at the Terrinique Show, and Instagram at the Terrinique Show. So please like us, follow, subscribe, comment, and tell me if this was helpful to you. I will be sure to respond to your comments. Have a blessed day.